What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another War Within video. Okay. Let's just dive right into this. We're gonna talk about Totemic Enhancement Shaman. And I think this tree is like surprising a lot of people. The TLDR at the very beginning here is that basically nothing's working. That's really unfortunate. Like, not yet implemented, not implemented, not implemented. These aren't implemented. These don't work. This doesn't work. These don't work. This does work randomly, imbuement mastery works, and then the top and the bottom work. So the totem works and the big totem buffs work, but nothing else does. So we can only sort of test so much, but I do want to highlight some synergies that I think I've found that are a little bit like you wouldn't recognize it, I think, right away if you weren't sort of looking for it. So we're going to talk about an Ascendance style build, a deeply rooted build that might work with Totemic, and what is more likely the fire or hailstorm based build that I think is probably going to become the main build with Totemic. So what's going on with Totemic? Let's just talk about it first. You get Surging Totem. You put a totem down, okay? It's off the GCD. Let me repeat that. This is off the GCD. That is a really big deal. You put a totem down and it does damage to enemies in an area, and it also gives you these 3 buffs. You can see them swirling around the totem right there, okay? There's going to be, that's the capstone. So there's going to be an air buff, an earth buff, and a fire buff, okay? So the air buff makes your next storm strike or wind strike do more damage and then hit an additional enemy, which is going to potentially give you another chance to proc DRE. That would be the main point of this, I think. You get an additional chance to proc Deeply Rooted. The Earth one makes when you cast Sundering or Ellie Blast, you refund 12 seconds off the cooldown. Sundering is a 40-second cooldown, so it's fine for that. But more significant would be Ellie Blast. Ellie Blast is a 12-second cooldown, so you get a full refund on the cooldown for Ellie Blast. I think that's going to be a really big deal. The Fire one increases the critical strike chance and crit damage of Fire Nova or Lava Lash. So I think realistically speaking, this is insane for Fire Nova. But of course, if you're doing a Hailstorm build and you're running Hailstorm instead, then you're not going to have that. So your next Lava Lash will do more damage. So nice little buffs that you get, and you can see them on the totem when you put it down. And then you can see it consumed when you press a button. I press Storm Strike and it consumed the air one. I press this and it consumes the fire one. I do Sundering and it consumes the earth one. And you have a visual representation of what you've done, which is really nice, actually. I think that's actually pretty good. So that's it. You have a totem on a 20-second cooldown, so very, very low, and it does a decent amount of damage. It actually does about 40,000 physical damage. Oh my god, go away. 40,000 physical damage. It's uncapped. It's reduced beyond 5, but it's uncapped AoE, which is actually kind of crazy. And that's really good. So I like that a lot. Obviously, we're not going to be able to totally understand the value of this until you get into a real Mythic Plus dungeon and you can actually use it, which I've not been able to get into in the last couple of days. So this also has a really cool passive. It replaces Windfury Totem, and it gives you the Windfury Totem enchant. You just give it to nearby party members when you put on Windfury weapon. So my first issue with this is that you have to take Windfury Totem in order to get Surging Totem. That is like a massive L. That's a massive problem from my point of view, because no builds right now we're really taking Windfury Totem, especially in Mythic Plus. Sure, in Raid you might take it and you have a Windfury group, I understand that, but in Mythic Plus you never take this thing. Like, you just don't. So I'm a little bit mad that this is the way it is. Now, I hope they change it. I submitted it as a bug. I literally submitted a bug report that said, hey guys, you need to change this. This is awful. If your Windfury weapon is going to give you the effects of Windfury Totem, why do you have to take Windfury Totem at all just to have it replaced with Surging? Like, it's like redundant. It's really bad in my opinion. They should just give you the effect of Windfury weapon with your Windfury weapon enchant. They should just give you the Windfury Totem effect and then call it a day, and then you get Surging Totem for free. I don't know why we have to take this, so that's very annoying. Let me talk about an Ascendance build. The potential of an Ascendance build with this tree. So number one, you have your totem, you put it down, that's great. When your totem is down, your Storm Strike has a chance to unleash a bolt at the totem, and then it buffs the totem's damage, and then it also redirects the bolt, and the bolt goes and hits nearby enemies. So that's a really cool, like, think about how many times you can Storm Strike, especially if you get an Ascendance proc. You're just Storm Striking or Wind Striking back to back to back to back. Now, I don't know if that it sort of works the way that I'm hoping it does, but I'm thinking it will. The point is, you could get like 3, 4, 5 Storm Strikes in a row that are going to buff the damage of the totem 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% more damage on the totem. You can keep that going. So that is a massive talent. And once it actually starts working, we're going to get a chance to see how good it is. But I think this could buff the damage of Surging Totem by a lot. It could buff it by a lot. Okay. The other one that I thought could be kind of cool is Oversurge. When Ascendance is active, Surging Totem is 150% more effective. I didn't notice the tooltip actually change. Like the 40,000 damage that it does didn't change when I had Ascendance active. So I don't know if this is actually working at all. I don't think it is. So I would just, you know, go ahead and take, when Surging Totem is active, you get 3% more damage and healing. That's actually fine. This is nice. You get an Absorb Shield, actually a decent defensive bonus for Enhancement Shaman. Yes, it would be nice to get an additional DR, an actual DR. I understand that people are going to rage about this, but getting an Absorb Shield is one of the better things that you could get. Getting additional healing would be garbage because we have so much additional healing already. We can just like full heal ourselves with the Healing Surge, right? If we have Maelstrom weapon stack. So getting an Absorb Shield for free is actually really nice. I actually don't mind that at all. This is kind of nice. Capacitor Totem and Poison Cleanse Totem reducing their own cooldown when you use them. This could be really good for Afflicted Week when you use Poison Cleanse Totem and it gets the Afflicted, but then the next Afflicteds spawn before your Poison Cleanse Totem is back. This might help to alleviate some of that problem. That's kind of nice. Getting Cap Totem back is nice as well. Size and radius of your totems doesn't really matter too much for Enhancement. It matters more for Resto Shaman, which has like Spirit Link Totem, and then Healing Rain is going to become a totem now, by the way. So that's kind of nice, but less important for Enhance. This is really good. Imbuement Mastery, Windfury weapon, chance to trigger up by 10%, and then its damage goes up by 15%. So there's a theme with this tree for Totemic, for Enhancement Shaman. There's actually a physical damage theme that comes in here, okay? Not only are you getting more physical damage from your Windfury, but Surging Totem itself does physical damage. We're going to get back to this in just a second. This is really important to remember, okay? Lava Lash has a chance to summon a Searing Totem. Would be really cool if it was working. I don't know the proc rate on this. I don't know how often it spawns. We don't know. This talent is really strong. Frost Shocks empowered by Hailstorm, and Fire Nova cause your Searing Totem to shoot a volley of fireballs at 5 nearby enemies. Very cool. I love that. Again, don't know how good it is because it's not implemented, but if you're running a Fire Nova build or a Hailstorm build, you're going to be getting extra value out of that big time. Casting Sundering causes your Surging Totem to create a tremor at 200% effectiveness. Very cool. Again, not implemented, but it sounds like a lot of burst damage. Like drop your totem, drop Sundering, boom, baby. You're doing a bunch of burst damage right there. Increases the critical strike chance of your Searing Totem's attacks and its critical strike damage by 30%. So again, some more crit synergy. This feels a little bit boring to me. They should have done more with this talent in particular. Just getting more crit is pretty boring for an entire hero talent tree. And then in the middle here, we get critical strike chance of Flame Tongue weapon. Again, very boring. They need to stop doing this. This is incredibly boring. It should be like something like every time you press Lava Lash, you're guaranteed to proc Flame Tongue weapon or something. Like, I don't know. That would be cool, right? That would coordinate really, really well with a Hot Hand proc. When you get a Hot Hand proc, you'd be every Lava Lash would be procking Flame Tongue guaranteed. Like, that would be really cool. Instead of this whole like, hey, you get more crit potentially. Like, that's dumb. Increases the damage or healing of Surging Totem by 25%. Let's take that, shall we? So this does 40,000 damage. Let's buff it. It's going to go up to, what, 52,000? 50... Did it change it at all? Increases the damage and healing of... It didn't change it at all. So that sounds like it's bugged. Oh, it's not yet implemented. I'm sorry. It says not yet implemented right there. 25% of 40 is 10, 20, 30, 40. Yeah, it would go up to about 50,000. Okay, so just know that. Just the math in your head right there. It's going to go up to about 50k. Okay, now the final one, as I said before, it's got all the buffs. Now let's get to the Ascendance build with physical damage. This is very important to understand. Surging Totem does physical damage. Let's look at our tree here for a second. Oh, look at this. We have Legacy of the Frost Witch. Consuming 10 stacks of Mist Weapon increases your physical damage by 25% for 5 seconds. Okay. Alpha Wolves, make sure the Alpha Wolves guarantee that your dogs are going to be physical dogs. And when they spawn, they're going to buff your physical damage by 15% each. So now that's 30% and 25%. That's 55% more physical damage. That means your Surging Totem is now hitting for 60k instead of 40. Interesting. Let's look at the, I'm going to look at the tooltip here in a second. I'm going to hover the tooltip, okay? There is potentially a Windfury physical build going on here, okay? You already have Doom Winds, which makes you have a guaranteed chance to proc your Windfury weapon. You have things like Unruly Winds, giving your Windfury weapon a 100% chance to trigger a third time. You have Imbuement Mastery, making your Windfury weapon do more damage and increases it, a chance to trigger. And then your Storm Strikes doing damage. You have Legacy giving you this. Your Wind Strikes from Deeply Rooted do physical damage, okay? You can see how it's kind of stacking up here. Sundering does physical damage technically, right? So let's do this all together. Let's do our wolves, and then I'm going to show you the damage of Surging Totem just with the wolves, and then we're going to get a legacy proc as well. So this, okay, my totem does 54,000 damage right now. Oh, we got a proc right away. Look at that. Now it does 77,000 damage. The totem does 77,000 physical damage right now. Wasn't that crazy? That's really good. Back to 77,000. It's up to 100,000 now. When I summon my wolves and I have a legacy proc, it goes up to 100,000 damage. That's crazy, guys. Totem's back. Let's put it down. Again, we look at the totem. It's doing 58,000 damage right now. I'm going to get a proc on legacy. And then my wolves are out. It's doing 77,000 again. So on average, you can keep the Legacy of the Frost Witch buff going and get 25% more physical damage like all the time. And you can have your wolves out all the time. So your totem, instead of it doing 40,000, it's going to do 77,000 damage like most of the time. And when you get an Ascendance proc, it's even better. So there's something going on here. This isn't even accounting for the fact that there's talents that are not yet implemented yet. They're not even working, right? So that's kind of cool. There's another proc. Look at that. We're doing 200k sustained physical damage basically on 4 targets. Now, again, I do want to caution you. Do not take the damage. Like, this is all going to change, okay? Please. I just want to show proof of concept here that there's actually something going on here in the totemic tree that is very physically based, and that is a new thing. That is a very new idea, and I kind of love it. I'm kind of here for it. It's pretty cool. Okay, there's a proc. Might as well stay here, get the proc damage. Also, no, your Ascendance procs do nature damage. So that's an important thing to remember. They do nature damage, okay? But like, look at all these buffs that are happening. You also get Sundering cooldown reduction, and it's a physical damage ability, so it's going to come back more quickly. Remember, your Storm Strike will strike a second target when you put your totem down. And again, or your Wind Strike will strike a second target. So there's something going on here with the Legacy, 2 points in Legacy to get 25% more damage. And then your Wolves deal physical damage. They buff your physical damage. Your Sundering does physical damage. Your Wind Strikes do physical damage when they proc. I wish I could look at a breakdown of this. It just keeps giving me Lua errors. I apologize. I wish it was better. Let me just, I think the reload's going to kill it, but I'll just reload really quickly. I did change my add-ons. But the point is, there is a physical build here, okay, that could potentially work for Totemic. Yeah, I still can't see. It's still giving me Lua errors. So that is very interesting, and that is potentially going to be very good. Now, the problem with it is that reactivity literally does nothing for you, so you're dropping an entire talent point in this hero tree if you do a pure deeply rooted build. Okay, so that is not really okay. But again, guys, the damage that we were just doing is without Totemic Rebound. Okay, it's without getting any damage from Totemic Rebound. It's without getting any damage from Pulse Capacitor. Okay, our Surging Totem is doing 77,000 damage. Add 25% on top of that, you've got like what, 20, 40, 60, 80. It's about 18,000 more damage. So 77 plus 18 is like 87, 95,000 damage on our totem now. You see how that starts to add up really quickly? That would be really cool. So you know, the free Windfury procs as well from this tree. There's a physical thing going on here, and it's looking really, really cool. and it might be very strong. We don't know. We just actually have no idea. Now, let's look at a fire build. Let's just do a fire Nova build. You can do this as a elementalist build if you want to, okay? You can. Now, again, you have to take Windfury Totem, which really sucks, but you can do this as an elementalist build. I'm just going to try it as a fire Nova build just to show you proof of concept once again, okay? I just want to always be showing you guys kind of this proof of concept. This is going to do a lot of damage as well. Again, Surging Totem is going to buff our Lava Lash or our Fire Nova. Now, in this case, I'm going to make it buff Lava Lash because I'm going to be pressing Lava Lash. And then I would also be getting a Searing Totem if I press Lava Lash occasionally. And then my Fire Nova would also send out fireballs at all nearby enemies, right? There's a lot of cool things going on with this tree. And I think that this is going to be the, like, de facto build, you know? I think this is really going to be it. Because it's just going to do crazy damage, right? We'll do this. We got a hot hand proc, or not quite. Even though we're doing a fire-based build, we still get the benefit of the Storm Strike. Whenever we cast our totem, our next Storm Strike will cast again, which is super cool. Then we're consuming our fire buff, and then we're going to do a Fire Nova. We'll do a Storm Strike to consume our Storm Strike buff. So it strikes twice. Very, very cool. And you can see this is very fluid. It's doing lots of damage. This is going to be a good build as well. It's got Fire Nova, which is super fun. We'll do this into a Lava Lash. My Lava Lash just crit for 141k there. Pretty crazy. We'll do 5 target cleave. I'm kind of cheating here, right? Because I'm doing 5 target cleave, which I couldn't do with the Storm Strike build. So again, guys, the numbers are not going to be correct. We're talking about how does it feel to play, and I'm telling you right now, it feels fine. We'll do a totem into Fire Nova. Boom, big Fire Nova. Extra crit for our Fire Nova there. That was cool. It feels good to play. It feels smooth. I think particularly on fortified weeks, you could seriously do this build and feel fine about it. And yeah, that is the Totemic in a nutshell for Enhancement Shaman. Let's just run away for a second here. So again, I wish everything was working. Once it all is working, we can really see what the numbers look like and how much damage this sucker is going to start doing. But for now, I think it's really interesting, guys. You have a physical build that focuses on Surging Totem damage itself, and you can buff the Surging Totem damage and make it do like really crazy amounts of damage, to be honest. Or I think you've got a fire-based build or a Hailstorm Elementalist build that is going to focus more on the Searing Totem and the big Frost Shocks that are going to send out all these fireballs and the different buffs that you're going to get that way. I think that there's 2 different ways you can play this, I think, and I think they're both going to be viable. It's about the numbers at the end of the day. How good is it going to be, especially something like Totemic Rebound? Imagine how many Storm Strike you can get out. Is that going to just make the damage of our totem even greater? Like, I think it is, and it's going to make your totem just start slapping. Like, there's going to be a physical build that makes Surging Totem slap, and then there's going to be a fire build that has the Searing Totem and all that other stuff. It's going to be really cool. I'm excited about this. I think at the very base amount, like the bottom line of this is that this is going to be fine. I think it's going to be good, but it's about the numbers and how that kind of looks in the end. But man, this is a fun thing to play around. I love the totem, and I think it does a lot of damage. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below for Enhancement Shaman Totemic. I'm going to keep digging around on the War Within Alpha. I'm going to keep bringing you guys videos. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I love you all. I will see you in the next one.